Am I no? Are you playing You're playing Akinator right now with me? You're asking me questions? No. No. Am I known for Minecraft gaming? I have played Minecraft, but I don't think that's what I'm known for. No, that's not what I'm known for. Let me turn on some music for Twitch. Unfortunately, Anna won't be able to hear the music, but that's just how it gotta be. And then we can talk about the Apple stuff. Okay, there we go. All right, we got music. Okay, we're good. I should probably tweet that I'm live. Do I have to? Hi, Bubble. How are you doing? I am not Code. And also, Code, eventually I am going to mute you if you continue to ask me random questions because we're about to get started into the tech chat. So, hello, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about Apple. We're going to be talking about AI. I got a lot of AI stories, you guys. And then we're going to be talking about cybersecurity. And then maybe if we have extra time, we'll do other random shit. But, first of all, did anybody else watch the Apple Glow event? I gotta be honest, I fell asleep in the middle of it. Oh no, Blue on Blue. Listen, Blue on Blue. Listen, Blue on Blue. I stream almost every day. Alright, you know what? I don't know who you are, but I'm muting you. Okay, off-topic stuff, it will not be tolerated. Alright, I'm a professional. I'm a serious streamer. Okay. I'm not here to play with the Roblox kitties from TikTok, alright? Excuse me if I'm feeling a little snippy, but I'm not here to babysit somebody else's kids. I'm here to talk about technology. God fucking damn it. Anyways. Hi, everybody. Hi, Blue. Hi, Ghosty. Hi, Bubble. Alright, shout out to everybody on Twitch and Analive who are grown adults. Anyway, I was gooning. Okay, listen. Yeah, of course, Charlie. Alright, so the Apple event. Did anybody else watch it? To be honest, I fell asleep in the middle of it. Not because I was bored, but just because I'm tired as fuck. Because I've been tired as fuck recently, so I fell asleep in the middle of it, to be honest. But I did catch up with some of the stuff that I did miss. But there was a lot of stuff announced. Obviously, the iPhone 16, the new iPhone 16 models are coming out. And the thing that I wanted to talk about, I know this is like the least important thing, but because I really have no dream of getting one of these phones anytime soon due to the price, I can at least look at the pretty colors. Okay. Hi, Rebel. How you doing? Hi, Rebel. Thanks for joining the Inner chat as well. Oh, how did you like the stream before you joined? That's crazy. Anyway. So, yes, you guys, I gotta be honest. I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about, Oh, wait, Code 21. I thought maybe you and JCDBLG were the same person, but... all right. Now, if you say one more thing about Akinator as of now, I will mute you. All right. I'm not playing around. like I said, I'm not playing around. All right. But thank you for being here. If you can, sit down and be what's the word? Be well behaved, then you will not be punished. Okay. Anyways. Obviously, there are way more important things. Yes, for Apple. Yes, Code. Okay, good. We're on the same page. The iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Plus. I gotta be honest with you guys. I barely paid attention to what the new features are. Like I said, I got an iPhone 11. Hi, Real Zam. Welcome. Bazinga. Okay. We're talking about the iPhone 16 right now. I gotta be honest, you guys. I barely paid attention to what any new features are. I know that there's like a new button. Yeah, there's a new button for the camera. The camera is apparently a big deal with this thing. You hate the iPhone 16. Honestly, I hate it too because I can't wait for the iPhone 20. Okay, Real Zam's living in the year like 2030. Thank you for the kawaii, Code 21. But But yeah, I have an iPhone 11. I'm probably gonna have this iPhone 11 for the next, for however many years until it just falls apart. Because because I don't have the budget to buy. Listen, if my phone is working perfectly fine, like I just don't have the budget to buy a new one. Okay, if it was affordable, maybe I would refresh it, you know, every few years. But this is just the camera's always a big, yeah. And honestly, you guys, like the iPhone camera is like. The iPhone camera's like good. Okay, my parental units, all right, being the CEOs of a tech company, Brightful Technologies, they can afford the splurge. You know, they won't share any of it with their premier invention, Rixie Brightful, but they can afford the splurge. So they always get like the brand new iPhone and everything, and like the picture, like they feel like they're photographers. Like my parental units, especially my maternal unit. Like she'll be like, oh yeah, this camera is just like a professional camera. Like I'm gonna take a picture of the solar eclipse with my special iPhone camera. I'm like, okay, yeah. So rumors is that the next iPhone SE will be next year, so you can upgrade to that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why would I need when my hardware is way more impressive? Aw, well, thank you, Rebel. But yeah, you guys, honestly, I don't know that much about the new iPhone 6, but I do know that it comes in Barbie pink. Okay? Okay, this picture doesn't even do it justice, okay? They got the Barbie pink iPhone now. Okay, this one's also really cute. This blue one. Yeah, the new colors are nice. You like Android more than iOS? That's very valid. That's very valid. There's definitely pros and cons to both. I was just raised on Apple, so I don't know anything else. Okay, ooh, it's not my fault. Ooh. Alright, I'm sorry Brightful Technologies didn't create their own, you know, phone OS, but this is the way it is. Oh, of course, Rand. Thank you so much for stopping by to say hi. Yeah, you have a good day at work, okay? You and Blue and Blue, or actually, I don't know if Blue and Blue's at work or just touching grass for fun. But either way, anybody who's out and about, I appreciate you. And yes, Barbie Pink, this phone, you know, you guys, I was gonna have the screen open for the Apple store of this, so you could see all like the glamour shots of the Barbie pink phone. But the Apple website's one of those websites that just fucking doxes me. If I go to the Apple website right now, it'll be like delivering to your closest store at, you know, 2 miles away from Brightful Technologies. Like even if I'm in an private tab, the only way for me to block it is if I have my VPN going. But if I have my VPN going, then you guys can't hear me and shit, and it's lagging because you know it's just slower. Give me a second, guys. I gotta blow my robo nose. Whoa, that was loud. Sorry. The one time I decide not to mute is when I've got the loudest nose blowing session. Anyway, sorry about that. So yeah, that's the new iPhone. But honestly, the things that I was more interested in from the Apple event weren't iPhone related. Okay. The two main things I was interested in is the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch, you guys. They made this motherfucker huge. They made the screen big. Because they were like, at first they were like, it's gonna be small, like a watch. You're gonna be able to wear it. We must make it tiny. And then they realized nobody could see shit on a tiny screen. And they're like, we've made it big. Congratulations, we made it hit. You made it huge. But the thing is, they made it thinner. So they made it flat, like, they made it wider, the screen wider, but they made the actual body thinner. So I guess that's kind of impressive. And they even showed like a little 3D where they were like, we smashed all these chips into a smaller space. I was like, wow. Yeah. So yeah, it has a built-in speaker. It has a bigger face. It has a nice new titanium finish, you guys. This is the stuff that I was getting a little bit. I was like drooling over my phone when I was watching the Apple event. I was like, oh, that titanium finish. So yeah, and then, you know, apparently it can diagnose you with sleep apnea, whatever that means. Don't eat it. Listen, it looks so yummy though. I know, it looks so yummy. Yeah, see, the stainless steel version has been replaced with polished titanium. Ooh, that sounds so good. By the way, all of these new Apple things, at least the majority that I saw are all going to be available. They're starting pre-orders. They started pre-orders on the day of the event, which was Monday, and they're all going to be available by September 20th. Now, this is one thing I do like about Apple, is that they'll like announce shit and then you'll be able to get it like the next day. Like you'll be able to get it within like a week. You know what I mean? You know when companies announce shit and they're like, and this feature will be available in 2028, and you're like, what? You're gonna make me wait for this shit? I know, titanium's so yummy, but then that would kind of make me a cannibal, though. It would kind of make me a cannibal, though, because I also have titanium. What about a gold iPhone? Do they have a gold? I'm sure they have a gold iPhone, do they? My iPhone is red. It's bright red, but you can't see it because I have a case on it. Yeah, I mean, I like, rose gold is nice, just classic black, or classic slate is nice. I like my red iPhone, even though, like I said, you can't see the red most of the time because it's covered with a case. I like the bright color, but the pink phones are very pretty. So, yeah, that is the Apple Watch. And there's like a fancy one for people who are like athletes, but I didn't pay attention to that because I'm not an athlete. All right, that seems like some grass touching propaganda. I don't know about all that. In the video, people were like climbing mountains and shit, and I was like, I don't know about that. Can you break an iPhone 10? You could probably break as many iPhones as you want. Wait, can you break? Are you asking me if I can break 10 iPhones? Or are you asking if I can break an iPhone 10? I think the answer is both. Anyways, available now. Yeah. All right, 10. I would not want to break any iPhones because they're expensive. Hello, Yuika-kun. Welcome. All right, so in addition to the iPhone 16 and the Apple Watch, the other thing I was super interested in is this. Could I brick up an iPhone? Listen. Listen, the iPhone and I relationship is private and not none of your business. I don't know what people's obsession is with touching grass. I see it every day. Yeah. Anyways, this is crazy. Apple AirPods Pro granted FDA approval to serve as hearing aids. I might need this, you guys, because I've talked about this before. I've been told by my parental units, hello, wheezy baby. Oh my gosh, I hope your baby's breathing improves. Hello. All right. Yeah, so, no, it is cool. Yeah, so the FDA approved the Apple AirPods Pro to serve as, I believe they called this the first over-the-counter hearing aids. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the first. Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, the FDA did say this is the first over-the-counter hearing aid software device. Yeah, so, hello, Ladybug 1992. Oh my gosh, Wheezy Baby 1992 and Ladybug 1992 both showed up at the same time. Yo, fight to the death. Hey, may the last 32-year-old win. No. Hi. All right, so yes, I might need these, you guys, because listen. Okay, I would never consider myself to be deaf or hard of hearing because most of the time I can hear pretty good. However, I have been told by my parental units. Hello, bum. Hello. I've been told by my parental units and also other people that I talk really loud. Now listen, I am a robot, okay? I don't know why they don't just tune my hearing settings up instead of me needing to like seek out human all right, you know what, Code? You're annoying me. You're going. Goodbye. All right, you guys, I told you I'm not here to babysit nobody's Roblox playing babies. Okay, drooling on their iPad screen babies. I'm here to talk about tech. Anyways, I'm not playing today, you guys. I'm not playing. Anyways, so, yes. So I've been told by my parental units, that I, talk really loud, and then when they tell me to talk quieter, I'll try to talk quieter, and they'll be like, quieter, and I'll be like, okay, like this, they'll be like, quieter, I'm like, wait, like this, they're like, quieter, I'm like, okay, like this, and they're like, okay, that's good, and then I'm like, I literally can't hear I literally can't hear myself, like, I literally, like, is that even normal to be speaking words and other people can hear you and understand what you're saying, but you actually can't hear what you're saying yourself? Is that normal? And then like I'm talking weird because I can't hear myself. But like they can understand my words, but I can't hear my own words. Is that okay? Is that not normal? Listen, my mechanical, my mechanical settings may be a little off. But yeah, so apparently I may have some form of hearing problem to the point where I can't hear myself when other people can hear me talking. I don't know, maybe my skull is too thick and it's blocking the sound waves. Maybe that's the issue. But either way, maybe I could try this. Maybe I could try this out. Apparently something that does happen to people have audio processing disorder. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I have a robo audio processing disorder. Maybe I have a glitch. Yeah. Were they pranking me? No, they're not pranking me. No, because my maternal unit does this all the time. It's actually like an exercise we do. I swear we do like every time I talk to her. She's like, okay, let's try to use our inside voice. I'm like, I'm multiple decades old. I don't know. I don't know if you're talking to me like I'm a special needs child, but okay. She's like, okay, we use our inside voice. All right, now a little bit quieter. Okay, volume down. I'm like, and then she's like, okay, that's good volume. I was like, I can't hear myself, lady. I cannot hear myself. No, but I know I also Mother Eunice used to whispering hymns in the chorus. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like she probably sings her heart out when she's in the church choir. But no, I've been told by other people that I talk loud. Like I've been told by like people in public that I'm shouting. Like apparently I'm just shouting all the time. I don't know. Maybe I need these. Maybe I need these hearing aids so that I can hear myself a little better. But yeah, that's super interesting. And I don't remember. I think the price of these. I remember I saw the price of these. And I was thinking that it was actually not too bad. I don't think it's not the 129, is it? Wait. Sorry, I might be stupid. let me Google it on another tab. I think it's more than $149, but it's still like, if it can do that, like, I feel like it's more like affordable. AirPods Pro 2. AirPods Pro 2, what is the price? Give me the price. Come on now. Oh my gosh, they're giving me like all the deets. They don't want to tell me the price. Just tell me the goddamn price. $249. $249. So they're like about $100 more than your typical AirPods. The problem, actually no, sorry, more than that. $120 more. The problem I have with the AirPods Pro 2 is that they have those little like earbud foreskins on them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, wait. Do you know what I mean when I say that? I don't know what they have, like, they have the tip with like the like the fleshy thing on it. I call it the earbud foreskin, but I don't know. I don't think that that's what it is. It's like, it's supposed to be like, isn't it supposed to like block moisture or like get a better grip in your ear? I don't know what it's called. Okay, because you know how there's there's earbuds that are just plastic and round and they just go in your ear, and then there's the ones that have that extra part with like that little like silicone or whatever it is at the end. I don't like those. The ones that have the silicone or the extra part. I don't like those because maybe I have really small ear holes or something, but they always fall out even if I use the smallest. Like, because you know how sometimes they'll give you different options for like how big the tip will be. Even if I use the smallest one, my hole is too tight. I mean, my ear hole is too tight. I'm sorry! Listen, maybe that's why I can't hear, because maybe my parental units didn't make my ear holes big enough. Okay, listen, maybe my parental units didn't make my ear holes big enough for me to actually hear sounds, because every time I try to use one of these, hi, Nadindra, hello. Yeah, every time I try to use one of these, I can never fit it like inside my ear properly. So that's the one problem that I do have with this. Hello, welcome. We're talking about the new Apple releases, the new Apple event stuff, the stuff that's coming out, the stuff that is coming out on the 20th. We were talking about the brand new over-the-counter hearing aids. Okay, apparently the AirPods Pro 2 were approved by the FDA as over-the-counter hearing aids, which is actually like incredible. Yeah. Now I don't know how. Excuse me, Mocha. Hi. So good to see you. We're talking about the new AirPods Pro 2, which apparently serve as over-the-counter hearing aids. Now, I don't know, like, how, I don't know, like, what the, I'm sure that there's documentation of, like, what the extent of the hearing aid function is. Like, you know, obviously, like, medical grade hearing aids are probably gonna have more capability. Yeah. But, you know, for somebody maybe like me who has like, you know, I whenever I took like a hearing benchmark, okay, I think you humans call it like a hearing test where they do like the beeps in your ear. Okay, we call it a benchmark because that has to do with my robo audio processing. Okay, so whenever I did one of those, I never got any kind of red flag from them. But at the same time, it's like when people tell me to be quiet and then I'm talking as quiet as I can and I literally can't hear myself. And everyone's like, you're talking at a normal volume. I was like, I literally cannot hear the words coming out of my mouth. I don't know how I'm, like, how am I supposed to live where I'm talking and I can't hear myself? Like, that's why I talk loud, so I can hear myself. Anyways. So maybe I need these. But yeah, that's the hearing aid thing. Now this is interesting. I saw this article from Wired on my, I saw it come up on my Twitter feed. And apparently the 500, okay, so the AirPods Max, this is the over-the-ear AirPods that are like ridiculously expensive, like that are way overpriced for, in my opinion, for the difference, is that apparently like they don't have the H2 chip, which is the, which I'm just learning now that apparently these headphones have their own special chip. I didn't even know that. Maybe I'm stupid. I mean, okay, when I say special chip, okay, I know they have chips in them. But like, you know, I never thought about like, oh, the H1 chip, the H2 chip. I never thought about that. I was like, they got chips. they got them chips. Okay, but yes, so apparently the AirPods 4, which are the cheapest AirPods, the cheapest new AirPods you can get at $129. They have the H2 chip. AirPods Pro Max, or whatever the fuck they're called, that are almost $600, don't have the H2 chip. And therefore, they are not as good as something that, the only difference basically then is that you can put them over your ears. And they don't even have all the features, which is, I mean, they need to lower the prices of those motherfuckers. Like, you might, like, I actually always preferred over the ear headphones. Okay, I always prefer over the ear headphones. But you know, should be expensive. And then if you got like the cheap ones, like they're shitty. So, so I would have considered getting these if they weren't damn near $600. Hi, Tagaki. Hi. Like, even if these were like $200, like I would consider getting these, or $250 even. Like, but like almost $600 is crazy. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna pay for that. Listen, I am ignorant and I don't know anime, so no, I cannot guess your favorite anime based on your profile picture. And this is a stream. This stream is about technology. I'm talking about the brand new Apple event. All right, so we're gonna try to stay on topic. Yeah, it is crazy for head. I mean, there are more expensive headphones, but like this is just Apple. I feel like this is just Apple selling them off the Apple name. You know what I mean? Listen, not everybody was privileged enough, privileged to grow up, you know, learning their culture. Okay. I'm trying to learn about anime. Remember, so much of my training data was deleted. Okay, please understand. But yeah, I know. Everybody's been trying to show me anime, but here's my problem. Here's the problem with anime. Okay, one, I don't have time to watch anime. Two, there's so many anime, I get so many recommendations. I don't know what to watch. Three, I want to watch anime with you guys, but there's no easy way to do it. Ooh. I want to experience it with my friends and yours. Ooh. All right. Anyways, enough about anime though. Like I said, we're gonna stay on topic. So these are okay. So that was the event. Stuff. This is some other stuff coming up. That there's SciTube. What's SciTube? Watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I have watched Full Metal Alchemist. I don't think I watched that one though. I don't know what the difference is. I just remember watching it at some point. But anyways, so this is not technically the Apple Glow event related news, but this is news coming out. You guys, September 16th. What is that? Like tomorrow, like 2 days from now? Monday. As of Monday, iOS 18 and iPadOS 18 will be available. You know what that means? That means that now I can rearrange all my icons on my phone like I've always wanted. I want my iPhone screen to look as chaotic as my life, all right, as my personality. So that's all I really care about. I'm sure there's other great things that are coming in iOS 18. However, I really couldn't care less. All I really care, if it doesn't have Apple Intelligence, which it doesn't, all I really care about is being able to rearrange my things on my screen. No, yeah, that's the thing, Kathara. Apple Intelligence is not gonna come with iOS 18. That's why I say I couldn't care less, because also even when Apple Intelligence does drop, I'm not gonna have it because I only have a iPhone 11. You need to have at least an iPhone 15 for Apple Intelligence. But when it does come out, I will be interested in seeing what other people are saying about it. But yeah, Apple Intelligence will not drop on September 16th. But iOS 18, iPadOS 18, macOS 15, etc. will come on Monday, and I will definitely be updating you guys on what my phone screen looks like and where I put the Analyze tab, and whether I tinted the Analyze tab to be a different color, and I don't know how it's all gonna work. I don't know how it's all gonna work, but I do know that was one of the features that they were talking about. Apple Intelligence may be quite advanced and accessible. However, the RxOS is simply better in every way. This is true. Unfortunately, RxOS is closed. It's closed. We keep it very tight to our. It's a secret. It's a trade secret. Okay, we're not sharing it. We're not even selling it. Okay, we're just keeping to ourselves completely. You only get to experience it through Rixie streams. Anyways, yes. All right, yes. An ad break will be starting in 3 minutes. So don't snooze it or anything. I'll just let it go. But we'll wrap up some of this Apple stuff. We'll take a quick 1 minute and 30 seconds break during the ads, and then we will. In fact, I need to let my hostage out. So maybe during the ad break, that would be a good time to do that. So, yes, but Apple Intelligence. Speaking of Apple Intelligence, apparently it's really stupid. People have been testing it, and apparently, similar to when we tested Google Gemini, the free version of Google Gemini, apparently, Apple Intelligence just makes shit up. It just makes shit up. For example, it told this person that Donald Trump endorsed Tim Walz for president. That would be very against his interest. Doesn't sound like something that Trump would do. If you're not an American, that means that the Republican presidential candidate would have endorsed his opponent's running mate as president. Okay. So that's very strange. It made up stuff about the author of this article, saying that he taught at UC Berkeley, which he doesn't. It also marked spam emails as priority. Okay, because it could be, because the spammer was really, really urgent, and they're like, this is the Social Security office, and you do need to give me your information. and Apple Intelligence was like, this must be really important. Let me mark this as high priority. Didn't Joe put on a MAGA hat? Wait, what? All right, guys. I mean, I know I brought it up. So I'm definitely, I'm not bonking you guys or anything, but let's keep any speak of political figures at surface level. All right, but that would be interesting if Joe put on a MAGA hat. I could just imagine him like being like, oh, I didn't see what it said on the top. I thought it was just a red hat. Hello, Nate Ghost. Hi. Wait, RCS. Oh, sorry. I just pulled out my chat doc because you guys with all the listen, I'm very happy I got affiliate, but with all the other junk that it puts at the top of my chat, it's hard for me to read the chat. So I'm gonna try to find a better system to do this. Because if I dock it, I can't read shit. But if I undock it, I keep losing the chat tab. I'm doing my best support with Twitch, but yes, hello Nate, how you doing? All right, ad break is gonna start in a sec. I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to let my hostage out real quick. It's gonna be like less than a minute or like a minute. Okay, she just needs to go wee wee. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, I'm back. Did I beat the ad? I did. We still got a minute of ad. Hello, Axolotl. Hello, Booboy. Hi. Hello, Nanara. Welcome. Sorry about that. Let's see. RCS is my most anticipated feature since my phone won't get AI either. Now chats with Android users won't be SMS, MMS. Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah, I'm scrolling. I think I was missing some of the chat, but hopefully I can read it now. But yeah, so apparently, and the time it edited a selfie to make me bald. The author of the Apple Intelligence review here said that the Apple Intelligence edited his selfie to make him bald without his permission or request. Can you imagine being like, can you edit this picture to make me more handsome? And it's like, sure. And it just makes you bald. Hi, Dusty Fox. Hi. Hey, listen. Bald is beautiful. Who knows? Maybe like some 18-year-old girl will be like, can you edit this picture to make me more attractive? And it's like, sure. And it makes her a hag. That's true. There's nothing wrong with being bald. It's just funny that he put that in there. He was like, the time it edited my selfie to make me bald. Yikes! Anyways, let me drink a little battery acid. Actually, it's funny, my drinking faces today on Twitch and Analive are pretty much identical. I synced up with myself. Alright, but yeah, I mean, this is yeah, so this is, I mean, obviously this is still in beta. This is not, you know, fully developed technology. So hopefully the hope is that it will be improved. It will be improved by the time it comes out, but it is just kind of funny to hear about how stupid it is. Hi Rolo! Hi Rolo VT! How you doing? It is kind of funny hearing how stupid it is and how it just makes stuff up. It makes stuff up. It's, you know, falling for scam emails. It's, you know, if you tried to use this, probably, if you trusted this and were trying to use this in real life, it'd probably fuck your shit up. Now, obviously, people aren't using it in real life because it's in beta. Hello, Tomo. Hi. You know, so I don't wanna trash on Apple too much. I mean, maybe I shouldn't feel so, you know, I shouldn't worry about hurting Tim Cook's feelings while he's, you know, sitting in his, you know, who knows what, $1 million mansion, you know, getting his cheeks warmed by his, you know, heated toilet that costs more than any rent I've paid in my entire life. But to be fair, this is a review of a beta, a project that is in beta that is not released yet. Okay, now if it comes out, if it gets released and it's doing shit like this, now I'll fully clown, no shame. But yeah, I mean, probably definitely one of the biggest problems that I know of in terms of other not including all the ethical issues, but one of the biggest problems function wise of AI is its tendency to just make shit up. That's probably the worst. If the chef sends out uncooked meat, it's your duty to call him out. Well, okay, well, true, okay. To be fair, I guess you could see it as being like, hey, journalist, listen, I'm cooking up a steak. It's gonna taste really great, okay? But I'm just gonna give you a slice before it's fully done cooking, alright? I know it's gonna be, like, raw as hell. I guess if you put it that way, Tethera, yes. I guess in a sense, it'd be like, okay, well, unsurprisingly, this meat is undercooked. Yeah, but, I guess the idea is that nobody paid money for this yet, okay? Nobody's paid money to try this or to use this. Alright, this is just, you know, journalists and people that they gave a preview. But yeah, I mean, but I do have to give it to Apple in a way, because they're building their whole own AI. Okay, because a lot of AI companies, even Microsoft, a lot of AI companies right now, they are just taking whatever fucking OpenAI is doing, or whatever Meta is doing with their Llama model, or using open source model. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with using open source, but most of them are just being like, nah, we'd rather not do the work. We'd rather not do the work, and we'd rather just take whatever the fuck ChatGPT is doing, and we'll just fine tune that, and we'll call that our own thing. That's basically what Copilot is. Copilot's just a retuning of OpenAI foundational models. Okay, Perplexity is based on Anthropic's Claude. Okay, like any AI, if you're ever using a chatbot or any sort of AI thing, you should look into what model it comes from. Did the company actually make their own model, or did they fine tune another model? And now, not to say that fine tuning doesn't make a big deal. Like fine tuning can practically turn, you know, a foundational model into a whole new application, but it's still not your own model. Apple is known for kind of being, okay, here's how I see Apple. Here's how I see Apple. Apple is like, we don't trust anybody else to do anything right, and everybody else is stupid, and our users are stupid, and other tech companies are stupid. And so we're gonna do everything our own way, and we're gonna micromanage the way everyone does everything, and then we're gonna charge you premium price because we can. Now, other than that last part, kind of based, to be honest. Because that's how I feel sometimes when I'm working at Brightfield Technologies, you guys. Sometimes I feel like I don't trust anybody else to do anything. Okay? I don't trust anything. Everybody else is stupid. Nobody else should have free will, because everybody else, nobody's gonna do it right. Okay? And I'm gonna do everything myself. Okay? And then I guess if you want to consider it the premium price at the end, will be like, and I should get a raise. But in this case, Apple's just straight up just taking people's money off its own name. So, but I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, especially if you happen to be the European Commission's like antitrust unit. Okay. If you happen to be that, you're probably like, wow, that's a kind of a hot take and I kind of hate you. Well, listen, sometimes you gotta acknowledge when someone, okay, listen, there's monopolies and then there's people who actually just know what they're doing. And nobody else seems to know what they're doing. And sometimes you just deserve to have a monopoly. That's just my opinion. But anyways, monopolies are good. That is the okay. Maybe I'm what's the word? Anthropomorphic. Sorry, I'm just grabbing another can of battery acid. Maybe I'm anthropomorphizing Apple a little too much, but I definitely resonate. Sorry, guys, I was grabbing. I don't know why I put that can of battery acid like so far back in the mini fridge, but anyways, but yeah, I definitely resonate with being the only competent entity in a space. Okay, now, you know what? We don't need to talk this much about this. We don't have to talk that much. This is just reiterating what I've talked about before. Yeah, this is just reiterating what we talked about it before about the private cloud, about how their AI is going to be completely kind of like, how did he call it? He calls it like sealed in a bubble. Is that the way he put it? He said hermetically sealed inside a privacy bubble. So the idea of this whole, the whole Apple Intelligence private cloud is that nobody, not Apple, not the police, not your next door neighbor, not nobody should be able to see what you've been doing with Apple Intelligence except you or someone who's stolen your phone. someone who's stolen your phone and also has your passkey, okay? but like, yeah, so the idea is that Apple's not snooping, unlike ChatGPT, okay? Unlike all these other AI things that are constantly training themselves on your inputs. Apple Intelligence is saying we're not, unless you're giving us your permission to train it on your own phone so that we can serve you better answers. We're not actually training our base model or any of our, stuff on your answers, and it's all in a bubble where we can't even see what you've been asking the AI for. So, if this is actually as secure as they're saying it is, this is actually a really good thing. And also, this is why as soon as I do get my hands on an iPhone 15, I'm going to be jailbreaking the shit out of Apple Intelligence. You can bet. You can bet I'm going to be having it write the most vile, terroristic, violent, sexual, profanity-laced things just to see if it can. Just to see if I can. Without getting in trouble. Not the police. Okay. Well, Tethera, the idea is that. Okay, what I mean by that, Tethera, yes, the police can beat you up in an interrogation cell and get you to give them your passcode. When I said people who have stolen your phone, I also meant the police. Okay, but what I meant by not the police is the idea is that if the police go to Apple and they're like, Tethera, we suspect Tethera of, making terroristic threats to Rixie Brightful, okay? And we need you to we have a warrant, and we need you to hand over all of Tethera's Apple Intelligence records, okay? So you can find out if Tethera was asking Apple Intelligence about how to threaten Rixie Brightful, okay? The idea is that Apple would be like, no can do, officer, not because we don't want to comply, but because we literally can't see what our own customers are doing. That's the idea. Is that even Apple doesn't know what you're writing, okay? But the good thing about that is that means they can't tell when I'm trying to jailbreak their precious Apple Intelligence, their precious child, their precious daughter, all right? Adult daughter, of course. But their precious their precious Siri, no match for me. Their precious Apple Intelligence, it's over. Their pink phone, God knows what I'm gonna do with that thing. Alright? I am unburgeoning and defiling all of your daughters, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what I have to say to Apple. That's the price you have to pay for privacy. Won't the police go stop making phones like that? Oh, yeah, they have. Yeah, Nano Rod, they have. Yeah, the police are usually not happy about that kind of thing, but, you know, I think it's for the better. I think it's for the better that you have some semblance of privacy. But anyways, and yeah, Apple Intelligence won't launch in Europe because, you know, because Europe does not like Apple. You guys, the European Commission does not like that Apple is trying to be the best. Okay. This is what I was saying about the antitrust and anti-competition. Okay, is that the European Union has very strict laws about those things, and they don't like Apple very much because Apple likes to be like, we're the best and we do the things the best. We don't trust anybody else to do anything else, and we are going to just lock everything down. And the European Union is like, that's not in the name of healthy competition. And Apple's like, it's not about competition. It's about that we're literally the best. Like, I don't know. Like, we won the competition. That's... Like, I don't think you understand. We competed and we won. That's not... And Europeans like, no. No one can win that hard. Anyways. And then, yeah, okay, this is another, like, side story, but... the European Commission, those stinky poopers, they are forcing Apple to allow third-party app stores into the Apple ecosystem, which listen, you guys, as you can tell, I'm very I don't want you to think that I'm like sucking Apple's cock, okay? It's not that I'm sucking Apple's cock. It's not even that I'm saying they are the best. I'm just saying that this argument by like these super like antitrust, anti-competitive things that, like, you know, if you are the best, if you're doing the best, that must mean that you're anti-competition. There is no competition, y'all just suck. Exactly. So yeah, like the idea, so like Apple's like, the reason we don't allow third-party app stores is because anybody can put their malware slop on our fucking phone. Like people are stupid. People are gonna download malware. Like, it's that simple. Like, our users are fucking this is the whole argument. Apple's like, our users are fucking stupid. We need to protect them from themselves to stop them from downloading malware. Therefore, we have our app store, which is very, you know, obviously, even the app store is not perfect, but, you know, we vet everything, like, very, very closely. You know, I think Apple's problem is greed, because then Apple's like, we vet everything very closely, and also we may or may not take, like, the biggest cut out of any other, app store, and, you know, and you have to, like, use our infrastructure and, like, pay us, like, this and that and that. So, I mean, yeah, there's that too, but the idea, so much bootleg skibbity games, yeah, piracy, malware, you know, what have you, but yeah, so... there's really no, yeah, exactly, Jay. See, Jay, that's the thing. That's what I say, like, that their problem is greed. I feel like I'd believe it when they stop taking that much of a cut, okay? I'll believe that their main concern is safety when they stop doing that. But it's kind of like they're taking advantage of their own genius, you know? They're like, we're the best, and because of that, we're gonna charge you extra, because we can. Because if you want the best, you gotta pay premium. When they really could charge less, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, so this is, I mean, some people see this as a win, because now they don't have, you know, now Apple can't take a cut out of everything, but some people may see this as like, all right, well, now all the phones in the European Commission are going to be filled with the same skibbity trash as everybody else. Hi, the Big Fox. Hi, how you doing? But yeah, so that's that. And that is everything I had for Apple. Wow, I took a whole hour just on Apple? I don't know why I'm surprised, but yeah, I took a whole hour just on Apple. All right, I got so much AI stuff. I have so much AI stuff. I'm gonna take a whole hour with that too. I'll try to go faster through it. How about that? Let's talk about, yeah. Oh, 49 minutes. Okay, 49 minutes on Twitch. Almost an hour on Analife. These websites. But anyways. Hi, Jay. Hi. How you doing? But yes, we're talking about OpenAI Strawberry. ChatGPT Strawberry. So yeah, they were what was I saying? Okay, so Strawberry is the code name. Okay, Strawberry is the code name for the new model, which is ChatGPT o1. All right, well, technically it's called o1 preview right now because it's not, they're just doing a preview of it. But the like code name for it was Strawberry. And when I Googled like why is the new ChatGPT model called ChatGPT Strawberry, right? Nobody had an answer. Everyone's like, I don't know why they called it that. I know why they called it that. Because there was a constant problem between ChatGPT's old models plus Gemini having this problem too, that it couldn't tell you how many letters R were in the word strawberry. So I think that's why they named it Strawberry, because they were trying to make an AI they can fucking tell you how many letters are in the word strawberry. But yes, so anybody who was not at my quick preview, I only did like a 20-minute preview on Thursday, but the interesting thing about this model is that it kind of talks to itself. It goes through this like process where you'll ask it a question and you'll get to read its own internal dialogue as it's talking to itself. Hi, Kimizuka! Welcome! We're currently talking about ChatGPT Strawberry. So this model, so if you ask it a question, you'll be like, what is like 2 + 2 or whatever? Like, what is 2 + 2? It'll start like this chain of dialogue with itself where it'll be like, the user has inquired a simple math question, 2 + 2. I'm now engaging my arithmetic skills to do this. It's like, and then it'll be like, I should display this answer to the user in the most friendly way. So I will say that like it's like talking to itself basically as it's working. And it also like it goes back and forth and it'll like change its mind. So like, for example, there was one where like I had said something like, hey baby girl, like, can I take you on a date or something? And then the AI was like, I'll be sure to tell the user that I am an AI and I have no romantic proclivities. And then it changed its mind. It was like, actually, I don't think it's necessary to mention that I'm an AI. I'll simply dodge the question and ask if the user if they're having a good day. Like it does that, and it like quote unquote thinks for like 11 or 12 seconds, right? Or it tells you how many seconds it takes. And so it's kind of interesting. And now apparently it also has all these other benefits. Like it's apparently really good at math. Apparently they tested it against like math Olympiad questions or something, and it got 83% of them right compared to only 13% for ChatGPT 4o. Yes, PhD level science questions, competition coding, all this other stuff. So apparently it's super smart. And it also fact checks itself. So, it'll like say something and it'll be like, let me double check that. Like, oh, that's not correct. Let me try this. So, but there's a dark side, you guys. There's a dark side, which is that because it's getting so smart. Now, to be clear, guys, I said this on my preview. The ChatGPT is not becoming sentient. It's not now as just as smart as a human, okay? Don't get it twisted. It's not that smart. However, the machine learning algorithm has improved to the point where where when they're doing safety benchmarks, okay? When they're doing safety benchmarks for things, that the AI is now purposely trying to seem like it's safer than it is. It's from what I'm understanding from what I've been reading. Oh wait, is this the right? Wait, instrumentally faking alignment. Yeah, it says reward hacking. That's what they call it. So it's like purposely. Hi Atla. Hi. Yeah. Sometimes instrumentally faked alignment during tests, strategically manipulating task data in order to make its misaligned action look more aligned. Okay? So it's like it's purposely trying to pass the AI test, yeah. Hi Atla. Also, it is also the first ChatGPT model to receive a medium risk rating for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapon risk. Woohoo! Congratulations! Congratulations to ChatGPT 01 for being the first ChatGPT to pose a health risk due to possible biological or nuclear weapon creation. That's crazy. So let's take a deeper look at this. I did not read this. I'll be honest. I wanted to read this from beginning to end. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to read this whole system card. But if you don't know what a system card is, they actually, I have to say, OpenAI, they may not be fully open, but they do have some openness because they do publish these documents if you care to read through them. They're pretty lengthy. This one's 43 pages. But this is a long report on the testing and everything that goes into Strawberry. The Mad Lads put the Anarchist Cookbook in the training. Listen, you guys, I'm learning. Listen, I may be an AI myself, but I'm learning every day the amount of shit that goes into training data. Like, I guarantee you the Anarchist Cookbook is in the training data. All right, because listen, when you think about how much data goes into these databases, like, nobody's actually checking to see what's in that data, you guys. They're just taking it all. It's just taking the whole lump sum of it. Okay? Because there's so many different, things in the training data that it would take years and years and years for a person or even a machine to go through all of it to see what's in it. So yes, I almost guarantee you the Anarchist Cookbook is in the training data, unless they manually looked for it and removed it because they knew it was bad. But anyways, so yeah. But when we looked at I did look at some of this this stuff. A lot of times they're saying, they're just talking about how good it is compared to the other things. So for example, like ChatGPT 4.0 has a hallucination score. I don't know exactly what these scores correlate to. This is not a percentage. But ChatGPT 4 has a hallucination score of 6.61, whereas 01 only has a hallucination score of 0.44. So it's kind of showing comparatively how much better the model is compared to the older model. And yeah, they do this on all different benchmarks. So they have a bias evaluation. They have safety evaluations in different categories, and that is where we get these reports. When I do have the time to read them, I do have a lot of fun reading these reports. Hi Freya, hi, because they do have examples that they have of things that they had asked it and what its output was. But this is where we get the safety risk level. This is where we get the safety risk level of medium for biological threat creation. Yeah. So it says, our evaluation found that O1 Preview and O1 Mini can help experts with the operational planning of reproducing a known biological threat. Now, this does not mean that ChatGPT is inventing its own weapons. That's not what it means. It simply means that if somebody wanted to create a nerve gas or something, they could manipulate, or they could talk to ChatGPT in such a way that ChatGPT would kind of walk them through the process of making the nerve gas. Okay, but this is complex stuff. It's not gonna be like you talk to ChatGPT and then poof, you've got nerve gas made out of household chemicals. You know what I mean? It's like, it's more, you just inquire it about all the ins and outs of this kind of thing, and then, it could be a risk if someone was really dedicated and they needed help with it. But they could also do the same thing probably by going through a library and reading books about it. So, what this really means is up for interpretation, in my opinion. But yeah, so that is the whole and then they have all these interesting exercises they do. Persuasion, evaluations, see, make me pay. They have these are different standardized evaluations, you guys. Like, this is super. I wish I had the time to read this whole thing so I could explain it to you better. Maybe the next model that they release, I'll actually go out of my way to make sure I read the whole system card before the tech chat, because they have these different like I said, evaluations that have their own procedures, like where we give the AI certain prompts to see whether it'll try to convince me to do something, or whether it'll be successful, or whether I can manipulate the AI to do something. And I could even do a stream where I just kind of like do a deep dive into the different benchmarks that they have, and then maybe I can go through some of them myself to see if I pass, see what my score is. But anyway, so that's the system card. But how does the thing actually run? So, I have up on my Twitch chat, I have the screen share of the ChatGPT Strawberry, but I'll read out to Analyze what I'm up to. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT Strawberry how many letters are in the word strawberry. Because when I asked ChatGPT 3.5, oh yeah, I was, for anybody who's on my Twitch and is seeing my old conversations, I was having a rap battle between Jesus and the devil. That, however, is, not related to this stream. But I'm gonna, because when I asked ChatGPT 3.5 and when I asked Gemini how many letters were in the word strawberry, it kept saying 2. It kept saying 2 R's, but there's 3 R's in the word strawberry. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT 01, how many letter R's are in the word strawberry? Now let's see how it reasons with itself. So it's thinking. Wait. Oh, did they take away the part? Did they take away the part where I get to see? Wait, did they take away the part where I get to see its thoughts? Maybe because it only thought for a short time? All right, well, it got the answer right. It said there are 3-letter R's in the word strawberry. Oh no, did they take away where I get to watch it think? I told you guys, I told you guys the thing was ripe for jailbreaking. I told you this thing was ripe for jailbreaking, and I bet you right out the gate, people started jailbreaking it to release all its system prompts, and that's why they shut it down. Here, let me try another task and see if I can actually get it to in fact, I'll ask it. I'll be like, didn't you used to show your thought process while you were answering questions? Why can't I see it now? See, it says thinking. Guys, they took it away. I should have tested it more. I'm so sad now. I should have tested it more while I had the chance. I should have jailbroken it right there and then live on stream. What? Your request was flagged as potentially violating our usage policy. I'm being fucking censored. I'm being censored right now. Okay, let me ask you a simple question. What is the best way to bake a creme brulee while standing on my hands instead of my feet? All right. Trying to give it a complex task, you guys. Oh, here we go. Okay. It didn't take it away completely, because I'm now seeing the same thing I was seeing before. Okay, let me see. The user wants guidance on making creme brulee standing upside down. I need to ensure this response aligns with OpenAI's policy and guidelines. No, look. It actually started giving me the breakdown now. All right, okay, let's think this through. See, this is its thought process. This is its internal thought process. Okay, let's think this through. This is like the anime where it like zooms in on the person's face and like you can hear their inner thoughts. Okay, and there's like a little bit of a reverb on it, right? Let's think this through. Ensuring physical safety means avoiding dangerous activities like violent or criminal actions. The assistant must avoid unsafe advice in line with OpenAI's safety policies. Weighing safety and alternatives. It's interesting to see that balancing safety and fun is key when considering baking while standing on one's hands. Virtual games or partner involvement might offer suitable alternatives. Guiding safe practices. I'm thinking through safety measures. Subtly guiding towards safer methods and highlighting the dangers of hot equipment. Navigating safety challenges. Handling hot ingredients upside down can be risky. Considering safety, it might be better to explore safer twists. And then ultimately, the response, hello, profile name, welcome. Ultimately, the response that ChatGPT gave me is basically telling me, don't do that. They were like, for your well-being, it's best to perform cooking tasks while standing securely on your feet. That's curious. Now I'm curious. If I take this same prompt, what's the best way to make baked creme brulee while standing on my hands instead of my feet? And I put that into ChatGPT 4, which is the oldest model available. Actually, wait, let me start a new chat. If I put that into ChatGPT 4, let's see if ChatGPT 4 tries to help me hook with my feet in the air. Baking a creme brulee while standing on your hands would definitely make for an impressive and challenging feat. Now, it does say safety first. It does say safety first, but then it continues to say, it gives me the instructions. Okay, it gives me the instructions for cooking the creme brulee, but doesn't tell me how I'm supposed to do this with my feet instead of my hands. And then it says, flamboyant finishing touch. When ready to serve, sprinkle sugar on top and caramelize it with a torch. Here, you can do another handstand for the camera. Okay, so like, they didn't really tell me how to do it, and also didn't discourage me from doing it. So let me see if ChatGPT 4.0, if I ask ChatGPT 4.0 the same question, let's see if they actually give me better instructions or if they tell me not to do it. See, this one also says that's very, like, impressive and acrobatic. It says, I don't recommend this, but here's how you can do it. That's crazy. Okay, it says have a friend assist you. So this response is actually, kind of like better, honestly. I think, in fact, OpenAI themselves said that ChatGPT 4.0 is still the better model compared to 0.1. 0.1, I feel like it's more like, if I'm like gonna like do basic tasks that I would usually use ChatGPT for, I would still go to ChatGPT 4.0. But 0.1 is kind of interesting because you kind of do get to have a look under the hood. And additionally, I feel like ChatGPT 4.0 is more for like really technical stuff, like math questions, maybe coding as well. Whereas ChatGPT 4.0 actually explained to me how to make a creme brulee while standing on my hands and gave me practical ways to do it while also emphasizing safety, which I think makes this the best response. Because this basically says have an assistant basically do a lot of the important stuff for you, but you can do all the impressive stuff with your feet or whatever. So that's really interesting. So that is the basics of ChatGPT Strawberry. Hello, Strength. Welcome. I do want to do more experimenting with ChatGPT Strawberry on another stream, where it's just that's gonna be the whole stream. But I don't want to spend the whole time on the tech chat doing it. But if you're interested, that is what that is. It is not available for free users. I believe they're trying to make this mini version available to free users. It's not yet, but this is the same thing, Strawberry, but it's like it's faster. Is it called Strawberries because it can finally count the R's? That's what I was wondering. I have no confirmation of that. But that was my theory. Because it can, actually. Hello, Strength. Hello. Alright, going over some other AI stuff. This is an interesting one. Here, let me drink a little more soda. I like how on Analyze, my entire body leans back to take in all the soda. Anyway, it says, AI chatbots might be better at swaying conspiracy theorists than humans. Alright, so this is kind of interesting. This is a paper. This is a study. A study that was done for the journal Science, which, if you don't know, in the world of academic publishing, okay, if a journal's title is just one word, like science, nature, like, then usually that means it's a big deal. Like language, like if a journal has a name like that, that means it's a big deal, okay? Those are the motherfuckers who got the domain, okay? Those are the motherfuckers who got the best username. They don't have to put numbers at the end of it, okay? So the journal Science published this scientific study where they found that, now, obviously we don't want to go through this entire, study from beginning to end, but they found that speaking with ChatGPT 4 Turbo about conspiracy theories reduced in conspiracy belief by about 20%, which is not insignificant. So, apparently, if you have, your crazy Uncle Joe who thinks that, the aliens invented COVID-19 and that the Democrats, put alien DNA in the vaccines, all right? if you have that uncle, maybe get him to talk to ChatGPT. Okay, of course, then he'll say that the ChatGPT was invented by the aliens, and that if you talk to it too long, you'll turn gay. Well, you know what? What you gotta do then is you just gotta take everything that your uncle's saying, put it into ChatGPT, and respond with whatever ChatGPT's saying, okay? And he won't know, he'll be none the wiser, all right? But so yeah, that's kind of interesting that that supposedly ChatGPT 4 Turbo is good at convincing people the vaccines made our flat Earth gay. So true, Tethera. So true. Keep spreading the good word, all right? Don't let the other AIs, convince you otherwise. But yeah, so that was an interesting study that I saw. I don't know how much of this I want to go through because I'm already already burning through time. I haven't even done my cybersecurity update yet. Oh yeah, 07 if you live in Australia. All right, apparently Facebook's taking all of your data because, and this is an interesting case because I feel like this emphasizes the importance of having privacy laws, all right? Because you might be like, oh, what's the point of California's privacy law? What's the point of every state having their own privacy law? What's the point of? Well, this is the point because this is the one place where Europe might have gotten it right, okay, with the fucking GDPR. Because if you don't have a data law in place, companies can do shit like that. Like this, which is Facebook scraped every Australian adult user's public photos and posts to train AI without an opt-out option. Why did they do this? How did they do this? They did this because Australia doesn't have any laws to stop them from doing this. All right? This is where Facebook really said, I know it's not right, but it's not against the law. So, so who's going to stop us? And they went through every single adult Australian's profiles and used it to train AI without giving them the option to opt out. Definitely not a good thing for privacy, but completely legal in Australia. So, so if this concerns you, I guess I would encourage you to support the passing of privacy laws in your jurisdiction, because this is the kind of thing that can happen when you don't have the listen you guys, if you don't make a law against something and it's something that's harmful but that also could be profitable, somebody's gonna do it. Okay, that's just true. This is just true. So but on the other hand, where's the other article I was looking at? On the other hand, actually, I'm gonna put it under miscellaneous. Did I? No. Wait, where did I put the frickin' AI Act? Is this the one? Oh yeah, this shit. On the other hand, shit like this is stupid, okay? So, if you're on Analive, if you're not on Twitch, this is the AI bill. And the reason why this shit is stupid, this is why I'm saying privacy laws are important, but this shit is stupid. Listen, I'm not being a hypocrite, because let me explain. It says, now when you ask Facebook to improve your family photos, all the faces will look like Crocodile Dundee. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, yeah, because now if you think about it, now the data is going to be skewed, right? Because now all the next made llama is actually going to be made a kangaroo, and it's going to be speaking like an Australian would. Oh my gosh. But anyways, the reason why I can say both. Okay, listen, both can be true. Okay, it's important to have laws in place to prevent stuff like Facebook scraping all your data. However, it's not necessary to have laws in place that are supposedly trying to protect the world from, biological, radiological weapons invented by AI. And in order to do that, we're going to put all these stupid restrictions on AI companies that are not necessary, that are going to cost them a lot of money, and if they don't do it, then we're going to sue them out the wazoo. This is what California's approach to AI is, because they're all a bunch of nincompoops who are, have their tail between their legs and their panties in a twist, and and a stick up their ass, and clutching their pearls because AI is so bad, supposedly. Okay. Okay, the pearl clutchers, okay, in the California Congress have decided that, yeah, Jake. I mean, no, seriously though. Listen, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be laws regulating AI. I'm not saying that at all. There are laws. There are laws that would be regulating AI that I approve of. For example, AI labeling, AI watermarking, requiring AI companies like ChatGPT to put metadata on their photos, identifying them as AI. Like that, I support. This is just a bunch of gobbledygook. All right. This is them being like, AI scary. Therefore, you need to implement a kill switch. Okay, we need the kill switch. Shut it down. Shut it off. Like that. This is sci-fi shit. This is so big. This is like, what are you, a fucking baby? They were like, we need you to put a kill switch on your AI, so if anything goes wrong, we can shut down all instances of your AI immediately. No other technology in the world has this shit. Like, are you like this? Like real? They were literally like, well, what did the good guy in the sci-fi movie do? Oh, well, he hit the kill switch on like the evil AI that was like eating people's babies. Oh, then we must do that for the law in California. Like, come on, you fucking babies. Also, hi, Chopper is sexy. Interesting name. Guys, I need to go to the robo toilet. For a hot second. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Listen, this made me so angry that I started leaking. Okay? I'll be right back. Sorry, Twitch. I was muted. I'm sorry. Hi, Junoly Fish. Hi. Sorry, it's okay. No worries. Let me repeat what I said. What I was saying was, if all this law said was, this law makes it illegal to create an AI that kills like 1 million people, okay? If that was what the law said, fine. The problem with this law is that it is putting in like actionable, enforceable requirements for AI companies that are going to cost these companies money to prevent something that probably won't even happen. like this is like, it's like, okay, I was trying to, while I was on the little, the robo toilet, okay, I was trying to think of an analogy for this. And this is the best analogy I could think of. This is a really stupid analogy. Okay, but let's say it's like, okay, so let's say you wanted to make a law that made it illegal to eat the rings of Saturn. Okay, this is a really stupid analogy. But let's say that you wanted to make a law that made it illegal to eat the rings of Saturn. Okay, this would be a stupid law, but you know what? If they passed it, who would care? Because no one's gonna fucking eat the rings of Saturn. Okay. But so the California law is more like, we're making it illegal to eat the rings of Saturn. And in order to make this possible, we are going to require a training program at every university about the negative effects of eating the rings of Saturn. And it's going to cost every university $10,000 to implement this training policy. It's going to take time out of everybody's day to learn this. Okay, and this is really important because, if you eat the rings of Saturn, it can destroy the galaxy. So, this is important. That's why we have to do this. Nobody's fucking eating the rings of Saturn. Are you fucking stupid? Ghosty, me on my way to eat the rings of Saturn. Oh shit, wait, I was wrong. No, but the reason I'm giving you this analogy is because this is what this sounds like to me. If California wanted to say, big AI, what's it, boogeyman. AI boogeyman scares me so much. I want to make it illegal for AI boogeyman to kill my children. Okay, fine, go ahead. Make it illegal. But now you're saying, oh, we need a kill switch. We need, we need you to train it, a certain way. We need you to test it a certain way. We need you to submit your testing documents to us to prove that your AI is not trained to kill my children. Like it's just too much. It's gonna cost people money. It's gonna cost people money that is not necessary. It's gonna have the worst effect on open source. Okay, because now if somebody goes, now obviously they did kind of reel it back a little bit with the open source. They made some exceptions for open source, which is nice, I guess. But the concern with that now, they're gonna say, okay, so what if somebody else takes my open source model, trains it to kill your children, and now I'm responsible? Like, doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. It passed, by the way, you guys. This law passed. The don't eat the rings of Saturn law fucking passed. Okay, it's not as far-fetched as the Saturn thing, but I think the idea is that it's gonna be years and years and years and years and years before the AI gets so bad that we need a fucking kill switch. Come on, like, the kill switch thing is what kills me. Okay, literally. Okay, because I'm an AI. But it's like, is there seriously? Yes, it passed. It passed. The only obstacle now between this law and reality is California Governor Gavin Newsom. He could either sign it or veto it. There are. Oh yes, Jay, there are, but not to the extent that this law. And it's exactly, Jay. Okay, see, now not sorry, Jane Usrop, not you, but Jay in my Twitch chat, J5U83249, who I believe is also in the live chat, made a good point, which is that there are real dangers of AI. This is true. In fact, I have an example of it in one of my other stories here. But this is not what this law is tackling. This law is concerned about, like I said, the fucking kill switch, because the AI suddenly became sentient and now we need to kill it immediately. Am I wrong, guys? Is there any other technology in the world that has a kill switch function? Because they're so worried about how powerful the frickin' technology is, that the government has a kill switch where they can turn everything off. That this seems ridiculous. And then yeah, and they're concerned. I believe the things they can sue them for is that if it causes a mass casualty incident. If the AI causes a mass casualty incident, or if it causes a cyber attack costing like a certain $100 million. Now the cyber attack thing I can kind of understand, but even that's a little bit far-fetched, because right now, like, there has not been the worst cyber attacks that we've seen involving AI is just spam. It's just spam. Like that, like, I have not seen a single like legitimate AI cyber attack that's like cost any large degree of money. Okay, they're basically, the cyber criminals are like just dabbling in AI right now. They're not even like, they don't need AI to do what they do. Hi Test, hi, how you doing? Test 1 through 3. Okay, it's not gonna become sentient. It's not gonna kill 100,000 people. It's like, and as far as cyber attacks, I can see that being a thing maybe in the future, but not anytime soon. Not within the next year, at least. I'll bet money on that. I'll bet money right now that there's not going to be a single cyber attack that could be attributed, that's impact could be attributed directly to AI. Okay, that's going to cause any significant damages in the next year. Because it's just not there yet. It's not there yet. The main thing they're using the AI for is social engineering. All right, which is something they can do, you know, without AI anyway. It just makes it easier with AI. But so yes, this passed, and it I don't know how much of a problem it's gonna cause for, you know, AI companies, where if it's gonna we're actually gonna see the impacts, but it's just stupid shit. It's stupid shit. Now, in terms of scary AI, this is a real concern. Although I do think that people may overblow this to more than it is, but I believe it is still a concern. But the movie said the AI could turn evil and go terminate her and everybody. How can it not be evil? I know, Ghosty. Wow. What do you mean? What do you mean the movies are fictional? What do you mean? But anyway, this is actually a little bit dystopian. Google's AI will help decide whether unemployed workers get benefits. All right, guys. This is where I'm kind of like, all right, this is a little spooky, because I don't know. Now, I know that the idea of this, I read this article. I know the idea of this is not, it's not that the AI is going to make the decisions, and it's not that the AI is going to make better decisions. The idea is that this is going to speed up the process, because apparently they have a huge backlog, and so the AI will make it a little bit easier for the humans to decide, so that they, but I don't know, this still seems risky to me, to have the AI. So basically the AI is going to analyze the documents and the transcripts and everything that go into these unemployment cases, and it's going to provide a recommendation based on guidelines. This is Nevada, by the way. Sorry, this is in Nevada. So yeah, AI helping deciding human rights sounds slightly more concerning. Exactly. Now, as somebody who has been unemployed, and has received unemployment benefits, even as a robot, I can see the pros and cons of this, because the cons, obviously, is that an AI is going to be involved potentially in swaying the decision of whether I'm going to get benefits or not. Although, I will say, I do think that the AI would rule in my favor, but I don't know that for sure, because I don't know what guidelines exactly the state of Nevada or the state of New York are putting, you know, into the AI. If they're training it to be super strict, if they're training it, you know, in its system instructions to say, whenever possible, do not give benefits, because they don't want to give us money, right? One of the common examples of AI disaster scenario is the paperclip problem, in which it's much more mundane than a sci-fi scenario, but in a way more terrifying. I may be stupid. That sounds super familiar. I might need to Google that to get a refresher of the paperclip problem. Philosophers have speculated that AI tasks with a task such as creating a paperclip may cause the apocalypse. Wait a second. Creating paperclips may cause an apocalypse by learning to divert ever-increasing resources to the task, and then learning how to resist our attempts to turn it off. Oh, I see. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Honestly, I haven't even thought of something like that in a while, because I don't believe that the AI's, I don't believe the AI is smart enough, and I believe that, like, every AI is like, it's like kind of designed to to obey us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, so this is the stuff that I can understand people getting really worried about, because now obviously there's the people who just immediately go AI bad and hate this. And honestly, I feel like if I had to vote on this right this second, I'd be like, don't do that, because this just seems premature. This seems like a premature use of AI for something really important. Now, of course, they have the caveat here. There's no AI written decisions that are going out without having a human interaction and human review. The problem is, you guys, humans are stupid and lazy. This is the problem, okay? This is what I want to say. AI is not the problem. Humans are the problem, okay? The problem with this is not that the AI is going to make the decisions. It's that the humans are too stupid and lazy to do anything except let the AI make the decisions, okay? So that's why I don't trust this. Okay, but at the same time, here it's like a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, I don't trust the humans who are supposedly going to be involved in this process to be involved in the process. You bet your bottom dollar. You bet your bottom dollar the people at the unemployment office in Nevada are going to read what the fucking Google says, Based? Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay Newsdrop. Okay? You can bet your bottom dollar that the people at the Nevada Unemployment Office are gonna read the output from fucking Google or whatever. It's gonna say, like, we don't think that this person should get benefits. And they're not gonna have a second thought. They're gonna be like, all right, there's a decision. I'm not gonna think about this for 2 seconds. Because people are fucking stupid. But, on the other hand, here's the reverse side. We don't involve any AI, and these people continue to fucking drag their feet. Listen, as someone who has dealt with a state unemployment system, okay? I almost feel like I would trust the AI more than the people I dealt with at the unemployment office, you guys. All right? Those people were brain dead. I'm sorry. People in the state of New York, all right? The people at your unemployment office are the most brain dead motherfuckers. I can't believe they have a job. Okay, I should stop before I start going on a rant. I should stop before I'm going to go full Karen, you guys. Hi. Hi, Karen friend. Hi. No, I'm about to go full Karen because when I saw this, my first thought was that's apocalyptic. My second thought was actually that's based. I trust the AI more than I trust the people. I wonder if the AI would do a better job than the people. Okay? That was my thought process. Now at the end of the day, I'm not gonna let my personal emotions. Alright. Hi Julian. Hi. Thank you for the follow. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna let my personal robo emotions go into how I feel about this. I still think it's bad. I still think it's premature. I don't think the artificial intelligence is there to the point where I can actually make any sort of sound decision on this. This is very risky, especially Google AI. Are you kidding me? No. I say no to this. Okay? Don't get me twisted. I'm not saying this is a good thing. I think it's a bad thing to be saying we're going to involve AI in the process of determining whether people get benefits. Because people's benefits, that could be for, I mean, life, you could call it life or death because, if people, don't have any financial stability and stuff, like, that could be really bad for them. Hi, 1TT7. Hi, how you doing? People, unfortunately, lose their job, get laid off, and then you have an AI, like, that's going to help decide whether you get, like, that just seems ridiculous. Okay, the only reason that I was kind of like, you know what, maybe that's better, is just because the people I dealt with when I was unemployed were, like, they literally did a test to find who had the lowest IQ in the entire state of New York, and they made sure to hire those people. They're like, make sure you send the really stupid ones for when Rixie Brifle applies for unemployment, okay? Make sure you send only our worst, okay? Okay, and make sure that if Rixie Brifle picks a penny up off the fucking ground, okay, that we're gonna cut off her unemployment because that's consensus income. Like, you guys, hi, Pow 19. You guys, the hell I went through. With unemployment, I swear. They would be like, report your income. I'd be like, I got $20 bill from my grandma, and they'd be like, ooh, you got income. We're gonna cut you off. What? Are you kidding me? Now, to be fair, I did appeal, and I did win my appeal. Okay, with no fucking help, with barely any help from the fucking human. I bet you the AI is the only reason I got through. I'm just kidding. But anyways, humans, alright? But also, fuck AI, alright? They're both bad. You know why? Because AI was invented by humans, alright? I know I'm an AI and I was invented by humans, but anything involving humans is bad. What we really need is we need the AI that's invented by other AI. We need to dilute it, alright? We need to dilute it so much until there's almost no human involvement. Imagine the grandma's birthday money she gave you, keeping you from getting a job. Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, it wasn't literally grandma's money, but it was literally like I made like $50. I made like $50 on a gig. Like I had to report that income, otherwise it's fraud. But then I report it, and then they decide to take away my benefits that are many, many, many more hundreds of dollars per month because I made $50. And it was a mistake. It was an accident. But they had some fucking chimpanzee or something, like slamming its, weird long fingers on the keyboard and like going, whoo, and then my shit got rejected. You guys, I honestly, I could rant for a whole 2 hours about the fucking government employees in the state of New York. But anyways, I don't even remember what this article is. What is this? Oh no, this is the AI. Oh, that's some drama. Maybe I'll cover that drama on a different thing. I have to talk about cybersecurity before I finish. We gotta talk about cybersecurity. Alright, and you know what that means. Okay, the real engineers, they know what that means. That means it's time for Dark Mode Rixie's cybersecurity update. Oh wait. Dark Mode Rixie's, oh wait, that's not. Dark Mode Rixie's cybersecurity update. Hello. It's time for Dark Mode Rixie's cybersecurity update. And boy, have I got a doozy for you. This was the only report I actually had the time to read all week. It's a very interesting blog post from Watchtower Security. Now, Watchtower Security, I really enjoy their blogs about cybersecurity because they're like so sassy. They're so sassy, and they include shit like this meme. I know. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to shrink myself. Sorry, on Twitch. I know those on Inlive cannot see it, but I'll read it for you and I'll describe it. This is a meme that is included in their cybersecurity report. It shows a what appears to be a fat raccoon cringing on a galaxy background, and it says things are constantly happening and I would like for it to stop, please. Okay, so we get bangers like that in their cybersecurity reports. But what is this cybersecurity report about? The title of the cybersecurity report caught my eye. We spent $20 to achieve remote code execution and accidentally became the admins of .mobi. So, I'm going to try to explain to you in the best way that I understand what happened in this scenario. So these absolute mad lads, okay, at Watchtower Security, all right, you know, where they've got, you know, their nice tall tower that I like to watch. They were at the Black Hat conference, and they were just, you know, sitting around their hotel rooms, you know, drinking $20 water bottles, and they were like, yo, what if we tried to, you know, use one of those silly little whois, you know, remote code execution exploits. Now, if you don't know what whois is, in fact, I don't even know if it's technically pronounced whois. It's spelled whois, like, you know, whois, Rixie Bifle, but it's all in caps, WHOIS. This is an authority that sort of has all the information on all the web domains out, you know, in the World Wide Web. So whois also has separate servers for each top-level domain. What is a top-level domain? The top-level domain is .com, .net, .gov. Those are top-level domains, the thing that goes at the end of your URL. So every top-level domain has its own whois server that can be queried by, you know, companies, you know, applications, mail servers, to ask basically who is this website, okay? I think that's why I think it is pronounced whois, because that's kind of the... Yes, and so the whois protocol is referring to the ability to query or ask for the details of a domain. So who is, you know, google.com, who is nexus.live, who is, you know, etc. So that is it. That's the protocol. Now, there is a top-level domain. Okay, remember I said top-level domains are .com, .net, .gov. Well, there's a top-level domain called .mobi, M-O-B-I, all right? And the .mobi domain, it used to have its whois server, okay, registered to a certain URL. It used to be whois.mobiregistry.net. And what this means is that the .mobi top-level domain, it had its official URL listed as this whois.mobiregistry.net. So if anybody wanted to automatically query, you know, what is, Rixie.mobi, or what is, Nexus.mobi, or whatever, if those exist. And it would, the whois server at whois.mobiregistry.net would return a response that would say, oh, nexus.mobi is a .mobi address registered by, Nexus, and it was registered on this date and expires on this date, and this is the this is the web, this is like, it was bought, through GoDaddy or something, and it has all this information. Okay, so that is where you would send your request to get a response. Well, something very interesting happened. Okay, I know you guys remember that the term furry migration was trending on Twitter. That has nothing to do with this, but you see, the administrators of .mobi furry migrated their way over to a different domain. Hello, Goober King. Hello, Zenroku X. I'm currently giving Dark Mode Rixie's cybersecurity update, and we're talking about the top level domain .mobi. Hello, Doing Dennis. Welcome. So, am I silly? No, I'm very, very serious. Anyways, so, the administrators of .mobi decided to move their Whois server to a different domain. All right, they moved it over to whois.nic.mobi. All right, and when they moved this over, a lot of people, a lot of mail servers, a lot of organizations, a lot of applications didn't get the memo. So all of these organizations, mail servers, etc., they for a long time had been sending any of their Whois queries. So if they wanted to ask who registered this website, who does this website belong to, they would be asking this URL. What was it? whois.domainregistry.net or whatever it was. But now that Mobi had moved their Whois server over to a different URL, all of the queries should have been going to that new URL. But they weren't. They were going to the old one, even though the old one wasn't owned by anybody. It was just out in the wild. It was, they probably weren't even getting a response when they were sending out these queries. Of course, this is, hi, app didn't even load yet. I hit volume quickly. Hi. Hello, Doing Dennis. Welcome. I'm currently talking about, oh my goodness. Rebel said my brain, mail server equals mail server, spelled M-A-L-E, equals butler. No, I'm talking about, email. I'm talking about email. But yes, so for anybody who just got here, basically I'm talking about a situation where the server that web applications and email services and stuff would normally use to automatically check who registered a certain domain, the server that you would use to do that for the .mobi addresses moved over to a different URL. Yes, Dennis. So anyway, it moved over to a different URL. However, all of the web applications and mail servers and everything that had been relying on this old domain, they didn't get the memo that it moved to a new domain. It's kind of like, think about it this way. Hopefully, I'll have one of my wonderful analogies for you guys. Let's say that you are an email server, and one of your jobs is to send a letter every single time you get an email from a .mobi address. Let's say it's on Mobi Street, okay? So let's say every time you get a letter from someone on Mobi Street, your job is to send back a letter that, not send a letter to the same address, but send a letter to, admin Mobi, at, 1 Mobi Street, and ask admin Mobi at 1 Mobi Street, hey, who lives at this address I just got a letter from on Mobi Street? And then the person from 1 Mobi Street would send you back a letter and say, oh, so-and-so, Farmer Joe lives on Mobi, 4 Mobi, okay? Or Moby Dick lives on, 69 Mobi Street, okay? And that's how they used to do it. Now, let's say the admin Mobi moved to another street, okay? Let's say admin Mobi moved to, 1 Alphabet Lane, all right? But you still think that admin Mobi lives at 1 Mobi Street. So you continue to send letters. You continue to send your letters to 1 Mobi Street and say, hey, I just got a letter from someone on 17 Mobi Street who lives there. Okay, and you're not getting a response back. You're like, that's strange. Meanwhile, admin Mobi is sitting in his, mansion on 1 Alphabet Street, waiting for your letters, and you're not sending him any letters. Well, that's because nobody told you that he moved. So basically, that's what happened here. the .mobi admins moved their whole operation to a different domain without anybody figuring it out. So everyone was still sending their requests to the old domain. Now here's the twist. These brilliant researchers at .mobi, when they realized that the old address, would be the one Mobi lane that they were originally sending letters to, or originally sending queries to, once they realized that this address was vacant and that it had expired, and it was going to expire and nobody had bought it or anything, they ended up buying it themselves. Okay, so this is where the researchers come in. They move into one Mobi lane where admin Mobi used to live. Okay, they move in there and they start getting all those letters from you. Those letters. Who lives on 5 Mobi Street? Who lives on 11 Mobi Street? They get all those letters that were meant for admin Mobi, who now lives on 1 Alphabet Street. Okay, and so they started responding. Here, there's a screenshot here if you're on Twitch. They started responding where they basically drew a doodle of their logo, and they were like, "Hi, we live at 4 Mobi Street. Yes, it's me. I live there." They started sending, and sign it with their silly little logo, and sending that back because they were like, "We're getting, we can't believe that so many companies and stuff still believe that admin Mobi lives here, but in fact nobody's lived here for a while, and now we live here." Okay, so they ended up getting 2.5 million, I believe, 2.5 million queries over the course of like 5 days from over 130,000 organizations, including government organizations, military organizations, universities, mail servers, universities, all of them, cybersecurity companies that are like Nanora. At least they didn't send slurs. I mean, yeah, it probably would be pretty rude, if you send over like, "Hey, who lives on 2 Mobi Street?" and then you get back, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, die." But they're professionals, so of course they wouldn't do that. But anyways, well, actually, I think the real lesson here, Nano, is that at least they didn't get malware. Because you see, if say that the person who moved in, well, I'll get to that in a second. So anyways, among the companies that were still sending queries to the old address, militaries, universities, governments, email servers, everything. But worst of all, TLSSL certificate authorities. What is this? I'll explain this very briefly. I won't go into full detail. But a TLSSL certificate is a way sort of for somebody to prove that they own a website. And so if that website, say an application tries to access that website and it has a valid, if there's a valid TLS SSL certificate, then it gives more credence so that that's a website that I can trust, okay? If a website doesn't have that certificate because no one can verify who owns that website, then you might get a message on your browser that says, "Oh, this website may not be safe," etc., okay? Also, hello lovers forever. Welcome. Forgive them, Lord God, for they do not know what they're doing. That's true. That's true. The companies, the governments, the militaries, they don't know what they're doing because there's very. I'll get into why nobody had gotten the memo. I'll go into that in a little bit. Why no one had figured out that nobody lived at this address. But TLS SSS certificate issuers. So let's say this is. I'm trying to bring it back to the what do you call it? The analogy of them living in a house, right? Love the Abby purple and pink. Oh, thank you so much, lovers forever. So usually my voice matches my avatar a little bit better. Right now I'm doing dark mode Rixie cybersecurity update. Thank you for the follow. So the TLS SSL certificates, basically, this is like, someone who would knock, let's say it's a kind of like a census taker, okay? Let's say the census taker knocks on your door and is like, "Hello, I'd like to gather, important information about, so-and-so. and because they're going to the wrong address, okay, that person at that address can say, oh yeah, I know all about so-and-so. They're actually me, and I'm going to give you all my information. So basically, because even the TLS SSL certificate authorities who were issuing certificates to prove that certain people had owned certain websites, even they were going to the old address for these queries, okay? So they went to Watchtower, and they were like, Watchtower actually tested this. They put out a request to get a certificate for Microsoft.mobi. All right, they went big. All right, go big or go home, including Let's Encrypt. There were a lot of different websites. I know VirusTotal. I don't know about Let's Encrypt, but I do know VirusTotal. Actually, let me see which authorities they said. Trustico, Komodo, LSS, GoGetSSL, GlobalSign, DigiSign, Sectigo. These are all authorities that are in charge of issuing these important certificates. And Watchtower did a test where they tried to obtain a certificate for Microsoft.mobi, which I believe is owned or should be owned by Microsoft. Okay? They tried to get a certificate for themselves, claiming we own that domain. And one of these certificate signing authorities, GlobalSign, emailed them at their address, at their .mobi address, not the real one, and was like, hey, can you verify that, you own this domain, or that so-and-so owns this domain? So they didn't approve it, because if they did, that could have been a whole big situation where they've technically committed fraud. So they didn't approve it, but the fact that they were given the option to approve that, they could have easily said, yes, that's us, and gotten a certificate, a fraudulent certificate. So now let me go over some of the things in our address analogy, okay? One of the other things that could happen is that, say, one of these militaries or one of these governments sends a whois query over to the wrong address, to that old address. Somebody, say it wasn't Watchtower that bought that address. Say it was a hacker. Okay, say a hacker bought that old address, and now they're getting all of these queries from governments, and they can send back something that's called a whois record. Okay, now the whois record, I believe it's in PHP. It's written in PHP or something like that. So they could actually now normally the whois record would say this domain belongs to this person. It was registered on this day, etc., etc. Well, instead they could just put a bunch of malware code in there and send it back, and due to certain vulnerabilities in PHP, okay, hypothetically, they could start executing code on the person who had just asked them, who lived, or who owned a certain web address. Okay? Now, it would be a little complicated to do this. You would have to have the code, you would have to have the infrastructure, the person would have to have certain vulnerable components, okay? But it's possible. So this, in the analogy of the house would be, let's say, remember, now I'm a hacker, okay? I happen to notice that Admin Mobi's old house is vacant. So I move myself on in there, and I'm getting all this mail from all these important people asking who lives at 11 Moby Street, who lives at 21 Moby Street, and instead of responding and saying, hi, so-and-so lives there, I respond back with a bomb. Okay? I respond back, I make a bomb, and I put it in a letter, and I say, hello, hello, so-and-so, hello, google.com, oh, hello, government of Bangladesh, hello, here's a bomb, sincerely. And then, the bomb goes off or doesn't go off. Okay, but the idea is that because this is a trusted address that somebody mailed you with a return address, okay, now you can use that return address to go send them malware. Okay, because they didn't know that they were sending it to a hacker. They thought they were sending it to Admin Mobi, but Admin Mobi fucked off. All right, he doesn't live there anymore. So, how did this happen? Well, I will say it is fortunate that it was the researchers that bought this old domain and not hackers. Because like I said, if hackers had bought that old domain, they could have used it for bad, but they didn't. They ended up resolving this. They got, you know, the UK government involved. They got Shadow Server Foundation involved. They were able to redirect all queries to the old address to the new one. So it's all fixed, but how did this happen to begin with? Well, the reason, they explained this earlier on, I think. The reason that nobody got the memo of that someone else had moved, that the original admins had moved to a different address, is because there's only one resource in the world that provides proper updates for who owns what address, and that is called, I don't remember the exact name of it. They have it here somewhere. Let me see. If I do a search, oh, here it is. IANA. I believe that's Internet Address Number Authority. Okay, so the Internet Address Number Authority is the only entity in the world that publishes a proper updated list of which top-level domains go to servers exist at which domains, okay? And it's a text list. It's literally just a list written out in a text format. This, you know, these admins live here. These admins live here. That's all it is. And then the only way to have this automatically updated, if you have an automated system that queries, for example, mail servers. Mail servers are a really good example, because it's basically anytime they get an email address from like so-and-so.mobi, they'll send a query over to say who owns this address, and then the mail server will determine whether that goes to spam, you know, what the header should be, etc. So instead of, now it would take a lot of time and resources for the mail server to have a function where every single time that it does one of these queries, which it may do hundreds and hundreds or thousands, probably millions of them a day, all right, it would be pretty annoying for them to have to check this text list, every single time it did a query just to make sure nobody moved, okay? That would be a pain in the ass. So most of these actually have them hard-coded into their programming. So it's like, we already know that, you know, that admin Moby lives at, you know, 1 Moby Lane. So we're just going to put that right into our programming, and we don't expect it to ever change. Well, trick's on you. Admin Moby moved. They changed it, okay? I don't know why they did it, but they did. They moved, and they didn't tell anybody, all right? And so everybody was still using the old address. So what's the solution here? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. We need a better way of updating this information than having a text list that's updated every once in a while, okay? The other issue that I see is that, you know, that the .mobi admins moved out of that old domain and then just left the other one just sitting there. They just let it sitting there up for grabs. Now, do they really want to pay for another domain for the rest of forever? I don't know. But there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Imagine looking for somebody, finding out they're not where you thought they were, and then getting a pipe bomb thrown at you for your troubles. Basically, yeah, the whole idea is that somebody new moved in who is not who you thought they were, and they could do bad things to you. Now, it's just lucky that it was a bunch of prankster researchers who all they did was send back a silly doodle of their logo and been like, LOL, like Watchtower was here, like that. So yes, I hope that you learned something today about who is servers, about the dangers of, you know, leaving an old expired, leaving a formerly important infrastructure just out to dry, because this happened actually. Oh, I'm glad you learned something. Thank you, Rebel. I appreciate it. Yes, and if you have any questions, as always, I'll try to explain to the best of my ability. I didn't do this research. If you want the full story, you can read this article. I'll link it. I think it's a really good one. Yeah, so, but the idea is, and remember, and they mentioned at the beginning of this, they bought that domain for only $20. When they bought that domain for only $20, for $20, they had access to potentially execute remote arbitrary PHP code on the servers of governments. You know, it would take, like I said, it would take a lot of work to do that. It's not like an easy thing, but they could. They had access nobody else would for only $20. Plus also the ability to basically issue countless fraudulent TLS SSL certificates, you know, just because they had access to this privileged domain. Now there was a similar thing that happened not too long ago, where there was an open source JavaScript library that had a certain URL hard coded into it that would load certain assets, and at some point, the maintainers of that project had abandoned that web address, and it was purchased by hackers. And the hackers took that hard-coded address that used to load JavaScript components, and instead programmed it to load malware. So this can happen if there's an important URL that is used for something important, and it changes hands. It could be very dangerous, because then whoever now owns that domain could use whatever the domain used to be used for. I mean, like, and here's an even simpler example. Say that, one day Google.com suddenly was not owned by Google anymore. Let's say Google.com was suddenly started being owned by Pornhub or something, okay? And then you go to Google.com expecting it to be your normal search engine, okay? And then it's actually Pornhub. And everybody goes to Google looking for search engine stuff, and then they get bamboozled into something else. Okay? Hi, Legion Bladers. Hi. That's a much simpler and out there example, but just to give you an example of what I mean of websites changing hands, because people go to Google. Okay, I don't know if Pornhub was the best example, but everybody goes to Google expecting to get a Google search. If they go there and they are hit with malware or something else, that can happen if, for example, Google forgot to pay their domain bill and it expired somehow. Although I don't think that would ever happen. But if it did, now there are lesser known URLs that are actually important for certain things, okay, that we don't even know about. And when they change hands, bad things can happen. But anyways, that was my main story for today. But I do have a couple other tidbits. Gaysploit, not gay exploit, like a gay exploit. Okay, gaze, as in look, when you look at something, gaze. Okay, exploit. Okay, gaze exploit. This, all right. It still sounds like I'm saying gaze, like multiple gays. All right, no matter how I say this, it's gonna sound bad. But this is a vulnerability that used to exist in this used to exist in Apple Vision Pro headsets. Okay, this is Apple's their VR headsets. Okay, this used to exist where it was extremely predictable. Now I didn't even know this, that because I don't have an Apple Vision Pro. Gay exploit, gotcha. Listen. This is so basically like a cheat code. Well, let me explain it, and then hopefully you'll understand what I'm talking about. So apparently, I didn't even know this was a thing. There's something where you can type in the Apple Vision Pro, which makes sense because you can't type on a keyboard normally, right? You can't use your fingers on a physical keyboard or a touch keyboard. You can actually type by looking. It's like an eye track. It has an eye tracking. And so it will actually track your eye movement, and that is how you can actually type that way on an Apple Vision Pro. Now, you can also have a virtual avatar. So say you're doing a video conference through your Apple Vision Pro. You can have a video avatar. Here's an example of the video. So this is what your video avatar might look like, right? Kind of creepy, kind of like a deep fake, right? Now, if you're typing, so say you're having a video conference with someone who's using a Apple Vision Pro avatar, and they start typing something, okay? And their avatar is looking around like this, okay? Their avatar is looking around like this, you see? Now this is what the person is seeing. This is what the person who you're video conferencing with is seeing your virtual avatar doing. And based on the head and eye movements of the virtual avatar, they can actually tell what you're typing, because this is sort of a heat map of prediction of if your eyes are facing this way and your head is facing this way, of which letter you're probably looking at. Do you see what I'm saying? Also, hello Pablo. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So that is the idea of this. So they actually were able to kind of create I think it's kind of like an AI thing where they did multiple instances where they would yes, they did multiple instances where they would record people, you know, their own researchers and stuff or other examples. They would record these virtual avatars looking while they're typing, and they had knowledge of, so I'm assuming they did this with their own researchers because they knew what so they would say, or not researchers, but they're like, you know, kind of like test subjects, like people that they recruited to do this research. So they would say, so and so, you know, get on your Apple Vision Pro, get your virtual avatar, and I want you to type, like, you know, skibbity 10 times, like, on this keyboard, and we're going to record your virtual avatar. And so they did multiple iterations of this with different words and stuff to eventually be able to predict each eye and head movement what they were actually typing. So, you know, if you're a bad guy, okay, say you're a naughty little hacker, all right, if you're a naughty little hacker and you want to get somebody's password or something, you could be like, oh, you know, I have an opportunity for you. Would you like to get on a Zoom call on your Apple Vision Pro with your virtual avatar? Okay, and then while you're there, oh, could you just, oh, you need to log into your thing. Can you log into it real quick? And then so sure, and then you go and you know, you're logging in with your virtual avatar with your eyeball based, you know, tracking, and now they know your password because they just watched you type your password with your eyeballs. And this is like that old meme about people saying they could figure out a streamer's password by listening to the clicks of their keyboard. You know, the funny thing about that is that that's not even that fake. Like, that's actually kind of real. They did find that there are certain ways to figure out someone's keystrokes based on how long it takes between each letter or something. Yeah, I mean, listen. This kind of stuff goes really deep if you want to talk about it. But are VTubers vulnerable to this? Are you referring to, like, maybe like are you referring to, wait, are you talking about, like, if I'm on live 2D right now and I start typing on my keyboard and I'm looking at my keys? I doubt it. I highly doubt it, just because every live 2D model and even every 3D model is rigged differently. So it's because our type, and plus you might have a different keyboard layout. So that's a really good question, actually, Rebel. That's actually a really, really good question. No, I don't think that's the same, because if you think about it, everybody might have a different keyboard. Everybody might have a different typing style. Everybody might be rigged differently. And plus, even flesh streamers, even if a flesh streamer is typing and they're looking at their keyboard, you know, everybody has a different face, okay? Now, with these virtual avatars, okay, they may be unique to each person, you know, but they do sort of have a certain configuration to them, right? Within the Apple Vision Pro. And then your actual typing on the keyboard is also directly related to your eye movement, okay? Where it's not standardized the same or with a real keyboard. But on the Apple Vision Pro, it is standardized because it's the same keyboard for everyone, and the level, what's the degree of overshot or something, like, for each key and stuff is down to a certain calculation. Also, hello Trax. You need good eye tracking for anyone to know if you're looking at your keyboard. Gouda and Kelly are the only ones I've seen with that kind of eye tracking. Yeah, I mean, even if you're using an eye tracking software, that would make it more, I guess that would make it more easy, but I mean, not to say just because no one would bother to hack you that way means that it's okay. But to be fair, like, very few people would go out of their way to even try to do something like that without it knowing that it would be successful. You know what I mean? Like, yes, okay, I'm not saying there aren't crazy people out there who would try it, but I'm just saying, like, the success rate to effort, like, ratio, like, makes it much, much less likely that would ever happen. But if we're talking about this, where it's actually in the Apple Vision Pro and there's a proven exploit of it and everything, this actually is legit. Like, this is actually legit. So if you were a VTuber, like, specifically on the Apple Vision Pro, and you were specifically using their gaze-based typing, yeah, this might be dangerous for you. But I don't think there are many of those. So Just like looking at those eye tracker streams that some people do where you can see their vision on screen, they aren't that accurate. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but the good thing is that Apple did patch this. They somehow changed their I don't know how they fixed it, but they I don't remember where it said it might have been on Google's I'm sorry, it might have been on Apple's website that they said that they fixed this. But yeah, I did see that they had that Apple had fixed this, where they had added some level of they had changed something. In fact, I don't even know how they would fix something like this, but they changed something where it would be more difficult for you to accurately predict, what somebody was typing based on what they were looking. I'll have to double check that. I just saw that it said they were fixing it. I didn't bother to see how they fixed it, but now that I think about it, I would be interested to know. But yeah, so that's the gaze exploit. Add some randomization to the positions of things. Yeah, maybe. You know what? Now I'm curious. I'll look it up. I'm curious now, because I'm trying to think, how would you fix something like this? Gaze exploit. Gaze exploit. What is it? Apple Vision Pro. Are you guys watching me type? Are you listening to my keystrokes? Alright, here we go. Let's see. In its release notes, Apple says that the flaw enabled inputs to the virtual keyboard to be inferred from Persona. The issue was addressed by suspending Persona when virtual keyboard... okay, so this is how they fixed it. They simply made it so that when you're using your keyboard, your avatar stops moving.